In the modern world, the traditional view of financial success, which involves going to school, getting a stable job, working hard, saving money, and getting out of debt, is increasingly outdated and misaligned with economic reality. This path, which once served as the pillar of financial stability for past generations, has become unsustainable for those seeking to build true long-term wealth. With the global economy constantly changing, driven by technology, globalization, and government monetary policies, the value of money continues to depreciate, and the rules of the game change daily. Governments around the world are printing trillions of dollars to stimulate the economy, which ultimately reduces the purchasing power of currencies, eroding the savings of people who followed the traditional path. While many still believe that saving money in the bank is a safe strategy, the truth is that this approach no longer offers the protection or growth it once did. Inflation erodes the real value of savings, and with historically low interest rates, it is difficult for ordinary people to see their funds grow significantly. In other words, money saved for the future is losing value while sitting idle, and growth opportunities are further away for those who continue to blindly follow this work hard, save, and pay the bills model. Furthermore, the drastic increase in global inequality exacerbates the situation even more. The gap between the richest 1% and the remaining 99% of the population is widening at an alarming rate. While most people still struggle to keep their bills paid and save a little each month, the wealthiest are using advanced financial strategies such as investments in real assets, real estate, stocks, businesses that not only protect against inflation, but also generate exponential wealth. The reality is that in a world of growing inequality, the old paradigm of financial success is no longer sufficient. This scenario highlights a crucial point. The true secret to financial success does not lie in the formulas we learned in school, which usually rely on following outdated rules of financial security. On the contrary, financial success in the modern world requires a complete shift in how we think about money and wealth. It requires developing a new mindset, the entrepreneurial mindset. This entrepreneurial mindset is not just about starting a business, but adopting a completely different view of money, work, and opportunities. Within each of us, there is a battle between different mindsets. The mindset of a poor person, a middle-class person, and a rich person. Most of us have been conditioned from an early age to believe that security comes from a steady job, a stable salary, and the certainty that if we work hard enough, we will be financially rewarded. But this is a limited view that no longer applies to the current economic landscape. The rich mindset, on the other hand, does not see money merely as an end, but as a means to create opportunities, freedom, and independence. For these people, financial success is not measured by the salary they earn, but by what they can do with that money, how they invest, multiply, and make it work for them. Unlike the middle-class mindset, which focuses on saving as much as possible and avoiding debt, the entrepreneurial mindset focuses on expanding, taking calculated risks, and generating new income streams. While people with a poor or middle-class mindset see risk as something to be avoided, the successful entrepreneur understands that risk is a necessary part of growth and success. Another important point is that traditional financial education often conditions us to think in a limited way. In schools, we do not learn about assets, investments, or how money actually works in the business world. Instead, we are trained to follow a path of security, which in practice traps us in a cycle of work, bills, and debts. True financial freedom comes with the ability to understand money as a tool, not as an end goal. Therefore, to thrive in today's world, it is essential to adopt this new entrepreneurial mindset. It is not just about thinking outside the box, but building a new box, where the rules are created by you, where success is defined by your own choices and actions. This text explores exactly this mindset shift, how we move from a limited, conditioned view to a perspective of abundance, freedom, and control over our own financial destiny. Here, we not only talk about the pitfalls of the traditional mindset, but also about how to develop a new way of thinking focused on opportunities, resilience, and personal growth. Ultimately, those who truly thrive in the financial world are those who have learned to control their own minds and emotions in the face of uncertainty. They do not let themselves be dominated by fear or the apparent security of a salary, but embrace the challenge of building something bigger. They understand that the path to financial freedom lies less in certainties and more in the ability to constantly adapt and innovate. After all, real financial success is more than just money in the bank. It is having the freedom to choose how to live your life without relying on a system that is already outdated. Within each of us, there is a part that represents the mindset of a poor person, a middle-class person, and a rich person. The poor person always struggles to survive, seeking basic financial security. The middle-class person seeks stability and security in a fixed salary, while the rich person has a different mindset, focused on growth opportunities and financial freedom. This internal diversity is not something we are taught. On the contrary, we are conditioned from an early age to follow the path of going to school, getting a job, and relying on a salary. The problem is that no one teaches us how to truly build wealth. In the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Rich Dad refused to pay me for my services. He said that the paycheck is one of the most harmful things you can accept in life, because the moment you rely on a salary, you become an employee. This is the mindset that traps you in the system, and he wanted me to avoid this trap. It wasn't that Rich Dad was against salaries per se, but he didn't want to be a slave to money. He wanted me to understand that as an entrepreneur, I would have the power to create my own opportunities. Meanwhile, my poor dad, a government employee, was uncomfortable with this approach. He believed that people should be paid for their work and that the security of a salary was fundamental. But Rich Dad was teaching me that the important thing was not the salary itself, but the freedom that comes from not depending on it. As an entrepreneur, he showed me that if one opportunity didn't work out, he simply started another. He was not dependent on a job, and therefore, he didn't need anyone to take care of him. Entrepreneurs have the freedom to choose where and how they want to operate. If the government creates obstacles, they can move to another place where their talents and skills are more valued. After all, entrepreneurs are the foundation of economic growth anywhere in the world. Being an entrepreneur is not just about having a business. It's about the mindset you adopt. It's a set of skills, a way of thinking, and following rules that are different from those that govern the world of employees or small businesses. Small businesses, for example, operate differently from large corporations. The entrepreneur, above all, must adopt an innovative mindset and be willing to learn a set of skills that allow them to make quick decisions and take calculated risks. The rules of the game change as you change your role in the economy. If you are an employee, the rules are different. If you are a small business owner, the demands and challenges are also different. So, if you're thinking of taking the leap of faith and becoming an entrepreneur, the first thing to understand is that the mindset and skills you will need are completely different from those you have used so far as an employee. The path to financial freedom is not easy. But with the right mindset, it is possible to build something that gives you much more than just financial security. It gives you freedom and control over your life. For those who aspire to become entrepreneurs, I would say that it is a journey filled with ups and downs. But the true essence of entrepreneurship lies in not being afraid to fail. I believe the best way to illustrate this is by sharing my own experience. I clearly remember my last paycheck. One of the most significant days of my life. I was in Puerto Rico working at Xerox when my boss handed me my last check, which was not just a regular paycheck but a bonus. It was about $30,000 already taxed. At that moment, I felt a mix of emotions. On one hand, I was excited about the amount, but on the other, I felt disturbed. I knew that check represented the end of one phase and the beginning of something new and challenging. While processing all these emotions, a colleague, John, approached me and said, "You will come back." At that moment, I was confused and asked what he meant by that. He replied, "You will fail and come back." John had gone through this experience. He had left Xerox to try his hand at entrepreneurship, failed, and ended up returning. But my response to him was clear and firm. "You failed and came back, but I will fail and never return." That is the mindset that separates those who stay on the traditional path from those who truly embrace the entrepreneurial spirit. I knew that if I failed, there would be no return to the comfort of a stable job. It was at that moment, leaving my job and diving into the world of entrepreneurship, that I truly understood what it means to be an entrepreneur. I had no salary, no money for years, but it was precisely that which made me hungrier, smarter, and above all, forced me to test my character. My rich dad always told me that when you don't have a guaranteed salary, you find out who you really are. The lack of a paycheck makes you decide. Either you cheat and become dishonest, or you transform into a better and more capable person. This is the true test of entrepreneurship. When you have nothing, you discover what you are capable of. Many people cling to the security of a fixed salary, but when you see the bigger picture, you realize that to achieve true financial freedom, you need to take risks and be prepared for whatever comes, good or bad. The problem is that most people think the next 20 years will be like the last. But the world is always changing. The reality is that many people get stuck in the same cycle of debt. They don't understand that debt can be a powerful tool when used correctly. For example, I recently refinanced $300 million in debt, reducing my interest from 5% to 2.5%. With that, my cash flow increased considerably because the cost of money decreased. While some financial experts advocate that we should get rid of debt, I say we should learn to use it wisely. When I returned from Vietnam in 1973, the first thing my rich dad told me was, go to school and learn to invest in real estate. It wasn't just about the real estate market, but about how to use debt and taxes to our advantage. The financial system favors the rich, and those who know how to use debt and taxes correctly can become even richer. Meanwhile, the middle class and the poor remain stuck in a debt cycle that leaves them increasingly financially suffocated. Many successful professionals, such as doctors and lawyers, earn a lot of money, but after all the tax deductions, what remains is significantly less than they imagine. I remember a doctor who was very proud of reaching the milestone of $1 million in annual income. But when I asked him how much he paid in taxes, he told me that $750,000 went straight to the government. In other words, in the end, he wasn't earning as much as he thought. This is a reflection of how the lack of knowledge about how to use money strategically can limit financial success, even for those who seem to be at the top. So, the lesson here is clear. To be a successful entrepreneur, you need to understand the financial system, use debt to your advantage, and above all, have the mindset that if you fall, you can always get up and come back even stronger. True success is not in avoiding failures, but in knowing how to recover from them and keep moving forward. When you look at someone who works and makes a profit of $350,000, like that doctor or lawyer I mentioned, it may seem like a reasonable amount, and indeed, for many, it is. But here's the difference. When I make $1 million, I keep all of it. Why? Because I don't make money by working directly for it. The big lesson of Rich Dad, Poor Dad is that the rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. It's a fundamental difference. When you work for a salary, you are automatically subject to taxes, and they take a good chunk of your income. So, what do the rich do differently? We create businesses, invest in real estate, and don't rely on the stock market. Because as entrepreneurs, we have much more control over our income and, more importantly, over how much we pay in taxes. And that's one of the great advantages of being an entrepreneur and a real estate investor. You can pay much less in taxes. In my case, I pay about 10% in taxes. That means whenever I make $1 million as an entrepreneur, I immediately invest in real estate. And here's the secret. With this strategy, I can put $1 million into real estate and get a return of $4 million from the bank. Now, you may be wondering, how is that possible? Well, it's because banks love to lend to experienced real estate investors. Although banks are hurting many people, especially those who work for money, they are incredibly advantageous for those who know how to use them. When the government prints more money, those who save or depend on a fixed salary are the most affected because money loses value and they see their efforts eroded by inflation. On the other hand, for those who know how to play the game of investments and debt, like the rich, this printing of money can be a blessing. This is what I always say. When the government prints more money, The rich get richer, while the poor and middle class get poorer. This happens because the rich know how to use debt to their advantage, while most people follow outdated financial concepts like saving money, getting rid of debt, and working for a salary. The mindset that we should go to school, get a secure job, save money, eliminate debt, and invest for the long term is simply obsolete and does not reflect the current financial reality. This deeply rooted idea, which has been the basis of financial education for decades, no longer holds up in a rapidly changing world that began to transform drastically in 1971, when President Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. At that crucial moment, money stopped being a tangible representation of value and essentially became a form of debt. Since then, the financial system we know has radically transformed, and those who do not understand this change remain stuck with outdated concepts that no longer work. Nowadays, we observe the formation of bubbles in the markets, whether in the stock sector or the real estate market. These bubbles arise largely because banks are printing an exorbitant amount of money to the point where they are no longer interested in your deposits. Instead, they prefer to lend to those who know how to use money strategically, thus creating a disparity between those who accumulate wealth and those who see it slip through their fingers. The result is that savers are losing out, and money, which was once a symbol of security, is becoming something that many consider trash as its purchasing power rapidly deteriorates. Yet, many still believe that getting a good job with a reasonable salary is the path to success, a notion that is completely outdated in light of current economic realities. Another old concept that needs to be reevaluated is the idea of getting rid of debt. Many people believe that eliminating debt is the key to financial security, but what I advocate is exactly the opposite. You must learn to use debt as leverage to get rich. This approach, which challenges conventional wisdom, is rarely taught in schools, and that is precisely why most people cannot advance financially. They do not understand how the system works, and as a consequence, end up becoming victims of that same system. When the government decides to print more money, two inevitable consequences occur. Inflation rises and taxes increase. This destroys the purchasing power of those who work for a salary, making their savings increasingly irrelevant. Many small business owners believe that by starting a business and generating revenue, they are on the path to success. However, the truth is that the vast majority of these entrepreneurs do not understand what it really means to be a business owner. In a country like the United States, there are about 28 million small businesses, of which 24 million are sole proprietorships. These individuals do not have employees, which means that, technically, they are not creating businesses in the conventional sense. They are, in fact, becoming their own employees. This places them in an unfavorable tax position, as those who work for themselves generally pay the highest taxes, but this reality remains a little discussed topic. So what is the true entrepreneurial spirit? It is about understanding that there is no bad economy. We all live in an external economy, but we also have an internal economy that is often neglected. The true key to success lies in strengthening this internal economy. The way you perceive the financial world and your own ability to handle it defines your results. People with a poor mindset, for example, tend to see only crises and scarcity. They cannot visualize the opportunities around them. On the other hand, those in the middle class have a worldview conditioned by the pursuit of security, which includes having a house, a stable job, and a car. However, this pursuit of stability can be a trap. When they lose their jobs, the entire structure they built collapses, because they become completely dependent on this model. In contrast, the true entrepreneur is not limited to a fixed job. Their adaptability constantly prepares them for the ups and downs of the economy. Over the years, I have learned that there are always two sides to any situation. If you believe the economy is bad, it is likely that your financial mindset is misaligned. If your idea of stability is limited to having a fixed job, you will see an economic scenario filled with unemployment and panic. It all comes down to how you perceive the internal economy versus the external one. In the end, you can only control your own mindset and the actions you choose to take, not the global economy. And it is precisely this mindset that defines who prospers and who does not. Therefore, the key to true financial freedom lies in cultivating an entrepreneurial mindset that allows us to see beyond the present difficulties and seize the opportunities that life offers us. Those who are willing to change their way of thinking, who are open to learning and adapting, are the ones who will inevitably find success in a constantly changing world. In conclusion, the shift from traditional financial wisdom to a more modern understanding of the economy is not just a recommendation, but a necessity for anyone aiming to thrive in today's dynamic financial landscape. The old paradigms of securing a job, saving diligently, and avoiding debt are no longer sufficient to navigate the complexities of the current economic system. The world has changed dramatically since 1971. And with it, the rules of financial success have evolved. The detachment of money from the gold standard marked a pivotal moment, transforming money from a representation of value to a form of debt. This shift has created an environment where conventional saving and investing strategies fail to keep pace with inflation and market volatility. Today's financial reality is characterized by the creation of asset bubbles, driven by the excessive printing of money by banks. This has led to a scenario where savers lose purchasing power, and those who understand how to leverage debt strategically are the ones accumulating wealth. The misconception that a stable job and a reasonable salary guarantee financial success is outdated. Instead, individuals must embrace financial literacy and innovative strategies to stay ahead. Understanding the strategic use of debt is crucial. Rather than seeing debt as a burden to be eliminated, it should be viewed as a tool for wealth creation. This approach challenges conventional wisdom and highlights the need for a fundamental shift in how financial education is approached. The current education system often fails to teach these critical concepts, leaving many individuals unprepared for the realities of the financial system. Moreover, the impact of government actions such as printing more money leads to inevitable inflation and higher taxes, further eroding the value of savings and salary-based income. Small business owners, often seen as the backbone of the economy, also face challenges. Many operate as sole proprietors without employees, placing them at a disadvantageous tax position and limiting their potential for growth and true entrepreneurship. True entrepreneurial spirit transcends the confines of conventional business models. It hinges on a profound understanding that the external economy, with all its fluctuations and uncertainties, is far less significant than your internal economy, your mindset, attitudes, and approach to opportunities and challenges. Cultivating a robust internal economy requires a deliberate shift from a mindset of scarcity, where resources are perceived as limited, to one of abundance, where opportunities are endless and setbacks are merely stepping stones to greater achievements. Individuals trapped in a scarcity mindset view the world through a lens of limitations and crises. They see every economic downturn as a personal catastrophe, often paralyzed by fear and unable to move forward. On the other hand, those with a middle-class mindset prioritize security above all else. They invest their energy in securing stable jobs and accumulating assets, believing that these will shield them from economic turbulence. However, this pursuit of stability can become a double-edged sword. In times of economic downturn, the very assets and jobs they relied on for security can become liabilities, trapping them in a cycle of dependence and vulnerability. In stark contrast, true entrepreneurs embody adaptability and resilience. They are constantly scanning the horizon for new opportunities, even in the midst of economic upheaval. These individuals understand that success in today's fast-paced world requires more than just holding on to what they have. It demands a willingness to pivot, innovate, and embrace change. They are not just survivors of economic fluctuations, but thrive on them, using each shift in the market as a chance to refine their strategies and expand their horizons. The cornerstone of financial freedom is the entrepreneurial mindset. This mindset is a powerful tool that enables individuals to see and seize opportunities that others might overlook. It equips them to adapt to changes swiftly and leverage their resources, time, money, knowledge, more effectively. Those who cultivate this mindset are perpetually open to learning and evolving. They understand that success is not a static destination, but a dynamic journey that requires continuous personal and professional growth. To achieve lasting financial success, one must undergo an internal transformation. This involves challenging and changing long-held beliefs about money, risk, and opportunity. It requires a commitment to lifelong learning, a readiness to embrace new ideas, and an unyielding belief in one's ability to shape their own financial destiny. The journey to financial freedom is not solely about mastering external strategies such as investments or business tactics. It is fundamentally about transforming oneself from within, developing a mindset that is flexible, optimistic, and proactive. In conclusion, the path to financial prosperity in today's complex and ever-changing world lies in nurturing an entrepreneurial spirit. By focusing on internal growth and adopting a mindset geared towards abundance and adaptability, individuals can transcend the limitations imposed by external economic conditions. They become not just participants in the economy, but masters of their financial fate, capable of achieving enduring success through continuous transformation and growth.